We are the engineers. We can demolish 40 beers. Drink up, and come along with us, 'cause we don't give a damn about any old man who don't give a damn about us. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xaereth Prevails. 3v3 is here, and whether we like it or not, and we've got to figure out which teams we're going to be using, and especially on defense, I think it's important. Everything is changed. Now the set 4 of Datacrons is gone, and we have all these new characters entering the arena. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of question marks, honestly, folks. There's a lot of teams that I'm like, man, that seems really cool. I don't really know. I don't know what to do with it. So, I mean, you might want to also just watch some of my streams or videos or whatever to see what I'm using as well. This is my best attempt at 3v3 squads on defense, and I think it's going to be pretty effective. I tend to do pretty well on defense, though the people that I play tend to also have crazy rosters, and they'll probably delete a lot of these teams for me. Hopefully that won't be the case for you. So this is it, folks. Let's go. Let's go to the freaking game. And whoa, God. Guys, we might be in the game. This is crazy. Alright, here we go, folks. So remember, I told you guys this on my offensive teams video, which is being released at the exact same time, by the way. So with video description, you can find the link to my offensive teams, and I tried not to have too much overlap. There is a little bit more overlap than usual this time, just because there's so much more variation. Like the set 4 was so weird the way it was. So you know, set 6 is just like there's too much going on. So one way or another, go watch the offense videos as well if you like. That's in the video description, or there should be a link at the end of this video if you want to just click on it. That being said, remember that my roster is, I acknowledge, a fairly big roster, and you're not gonna be able to match everything I have. I'm showing you all my Galactic Legends, all of that stuff, and if you really don't want to see what I'm using for Galactic Legends and you don't want it to be tarnished by that, I get it. I don't. It's not as relevant to smaller accounts. So I do have a smaller account that I do a video for as well. It's my alternate account. I only have 2 Galactic Legends on that one, and so hopefully you can find some more approachable teams and ideas if you want that. The video will be out for that tomorrow, like a day after I release this one, so go check that one out. I think that this still has value though, folks. Just to be clear, I do think this has value for planning, and I mean, like I told people in my offensive video, if I were to make a video with an account that's only 4 million, which I used to do that, all the teams, I just would have less stuff, but it would be like the same teams, just lower relics, basically. Like, nothing really changes. Like, the mechanics are still really powerful. Like, that's what I'm still using, are strong mechanics, and therefore, things don't really shift that much, honestly. We just have more options. So in a way, having a bigger account to show you guys is more helpful. Hopefully it helps with planning at the very least. That being said, we've got Jabba here on defense, and honestly, I'm curious to see. I think in 5v5, a lot of things are going to melt his face. In 3s, like Supreme Leader Kylo will do it. Now Jedi Master Kenobi with the new Kron will do it. That just auto kills Chrysanthemum. But keep in mind, folks, if you wanted to make one team really full of relics, is probably Jabba, just the way he is constructed, and he's got a really good Datacron right now that you can give him with a ton of, you know, health or protection or armor or what, you know, whatever. That it's really good right now. Just keep in mind, Kenobi's still gonna kill this, even if they don't have the Datacron that just auto kills Chrysanthemum with Cat. Kenobi's gonna be a decent counter to this, but you're costing. The way it works in 3s is you want to put some teams down on defense to force them to use theirs up, and you want to play that front zone game where they use too many Galactic Legends in the front, and then when they get to the back zone, they don't have enough teams to deal with what you have. While on the other hand, you need to keep a lot for offense, and so Jabba, if it costs them a GL, that's probably enough, especially if it costs them extra banners on top of it. So I would say, guys, pick like 2 of these, honestly, of these Galactic Legends on defense. Rey is good on defense. I like putting Hoda with her. You could put Jedi Training Rey so that you have double. healing immunity so that you can mess with, like, Sith Eternal potentially. Don't be like me. Don't keep forgetting to put relics on Ben, because he hits like a truck. He hits really hard. Now that they fixed the bugs that he had when he was released, he does hit really crazy hard. I just don't have good relics on him because I keep forgetting, and apparently CLS needs more relics because I volunteered that for territory battles. That being said, Rey on defense, like I said, in the note here, potential offense, I would just say, yeah, this team can do decent on defense. It annoys people, and it can just hold the line for a long time because of Ben and Rey's synergy. It's really strong in 3v3 because you don't have any superfluous fluff to go with it. Now, Lord Vader, I really like the idea, and I did this on my offense set video as well. On offense or defense, this team can do pretty decently. The thing is, okay, if you get the set 5 Cron, that every time you add a dot to a character, you get 5% protection up. Like, Lord Vader is going to be very, very tanky still. He's going to be obnoxious, and there's, I don't know, like, does Fennec still counter that? We're not sure yet, honestly. There's a few different teams that, like, Supreme Leader Kylo probably still does fine against it. There's a lot of teams that you probably do fine against, but again, if you're costing them a Galactic Legend, it's probably worth it. I like Thrawn here because Thrawn really does mess up, especially if he's hiding behind a tank. He really messes up that Fennec counter in 3s, guys. You know, Thrawn, you don't need him. I like the Thridian team as well as you do, but you can put him, with Lord Vader, and it's kind of, in a way, like he just holds their arms behind their backs while Lord Vader destroys them. So it's kind of a nice team. It's going to cost them something expensive to clear you, probably, regardless of what you have. And then you have Maul available for, if you can get the Canderous Omicron, guys, or Datacron, it's really good. It's going to do some interesting stuff, but even if you don't get the Canderous one, I mean, you really do want it, guys, if you're going to run Maul separately. But if you open the doors to you be able to run Maul separately, you can get armor up to some crazy speeds, especially, like, you can counter, you can be able to take out a lot of things on offense with it, which we talk about in the offensive video. But on defense, remember, if you can make armor the weakest, she's going to start with 40% bonus turn meter, and she's going to go first and really jumpstart the whole team. A lot of times, there's not going to be a lot of teams that are faster than her, frankly. And so, you know, like, troopers might be able to go first, but if they might not be able to delete the whole team before you get some turns. And you know, on defense, this could be a really good tandem on defense. You could mix and match, too. Put one on defense, one on offense. But this team is nice because it jumpstarts itself, and there's going to be a limited number of teams that can really mess with it. You want that 20% turn meter Cron, remember. It's really good. Now, Jedi Master Kenobi, remember, on defense, so, yeah, we have 4 GLs on defense here, and some of them are overlapping, like I said previously, because Kenobi is now, like, we don't have the annoying jank that used to just destroy this team on defense. The problem is, we don't know what kills Jabba yet. Probably Grand Inquisitor does okay, but if he doesn't, we're not sure, because 3v3 does weird stuff, especially with Datacrons and stuff, then Kenobi is probably going to be needed for offense. If he's not needed for offense, he is going to be pretty good on defense again. Then again, he's probably also going to be able to kill Lord Vader now on offense. Like, this team is very good on offense, and so I don't condone 4 GLs on defense in 3s generally. I mean, I think that you're going to be way more stressed out with limited options. So keep that in mind, guys. If you're just watching this and you don't have sound on, you're probably going to get the wrong impression, and I will lol at you when you complain in the comments. It'll be fun. You'll be like, why are you lolling? I'll be like, I don't know, like my head is lolling about. Anyways, we have Malgus with Darth Revan and Basti. Last time I was running a more bare bones operation with Malgus, and the problem is, sometimes people use a GL, sometimes they can get away with using something significantly easier, and in the age of Hondo, you probably do want to have a little bit more defense, and Revan and Basti, sure, GL is still going to destroy this, they're going to WTF pwn it, but other than that, there's not going to be many off-meta encounters, at least that I'm aware of at this moment, and this team is going to require a Galactic Legend to shift. And so I think this is a good split. And then you have Malak here that can hang out with EP Mara. Now remember, if you do want to put an ambulatory, like pretty bad Malgus team on defense, with you know, just like Marauder and like Talon or something like that, like there's a decent chance your opponent uses a GL anyways. It still loses some banners, and then you have a full Darth Revan, Basti, and Malak to place on defense as well, and then your opponent has to use their troopers on that squad, or they have to use something more dear to them. I guarantee I will be doing something of that in this coming season. So you know, when you watch my videos, it's not going to be exactly these teams, but I think that these have good legs. Remember, if you can get the dark side tanks revive the Kron for level 3, you put one on Malgus, and you put a bunch of defense on that Kron, and the same thing with this revive tank, or with this EP Mara. I was just reading the text like any noob can do. Any literate noob, I should say. But if you put the tanks on the tank Krons on this team, like, I just think it's going to be super obnoxious, guys. People aren't going to love it. They're going to they'll kill Malak, and then he'll come back, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that Kron. Same with Malgus. They're going to be like, yes, we're about timed out, but I finally killed Malgus, and then he revives, and you're like, no! It's going to be really great. So just keep that in mind, guys. Like the revive tank Krons for Darkside, yeah, like, abuse them as much as you can, frankly. Like, it's going to cause headaches, it's going to cause rage, it's going to be fun to read Reddit, and I will lol at Reddit as well. So we have on defense, so Adrad on defense is a different animal than on offense. I think the best one that I've seen so far still, and I don't know, maybe, now I'm just forgetting, maybe I didn't even look it up. A couple seasons ago, this was the best version of Admiral Radice. I hope you don't just like unsub me for not doing that research. Apparently I thought I did, but I was going to. It was on my to-do list, but apparently we got a little sidetracked. K2SO, here's the big thing, guys. The really big thing. This is super important, so listen up. You need a tank here. You need a tank here. You're gonna be tempted to put Cassian here as the third, and you get destroyed by so many teams. It's not even funny. You need a tank here. It's absolutely imperative that you have a tank on this team. Relegate Cassian? I'm sorry, you shouldn't use him though. Use Scarif Rebel Pathfinder if you need to. Use whatever, like anything, any tank is better, because that's going to stall out, like, it's going to give you hope against like bounty hunter teams. It's going to give you hope against, like, I used Akbar with Leia to destroy this team and Stormtrooper Han every single time. Last 3v3 on my alt is just crazy. Oh, look at that, guys. Someone, while I'm recording, I apparently just have this still recorded. Someone just followed me while I'm not even live streaming, but that's fun. Just a live. Someone followed. Thank you for the follow, whatever your name was. But here's the thing, guys. Need a tank. That is absolutely imperative. 100%, no questions asked. Get like a droid Kron. Droid stuff works with K2, and put like blind on him, like level 6 Kron with blind. That could be obnoxious because he hits back. He could put blind people. It's not okay. Again, you can abuse the dark side, no revive Kron if you want. You could do a bounty hunter, retribution thing. This is kind of a timeout team. You know, higher relic Bossk is going to be nice, but this team is pretty obnoxious, honestly, guys. People, you won't get a hold with it at all until some random guy's like plowing through your defense. You're like, man, I'm gonna lose, and then they lose to this randomly, and you're like, oh, you tried to use like a Malak solo. That's hilarious. Just like, I don't think I'm gonna sling that much mud, but there was a content creator at one point that didn't believe me that Malak doesn't solo that team, and he failed. It was hilarious. So Anyways, the QuiGon team with Ki-Adi-Mundi and Anakin. I mean, that is, you need them fast. You need them to be faster than Bad Batch if you can. And so, you know, remember Ki-Adi-Mundi's plus 80 speed, Anakin and Qui-Gon Jinn are plus 60 speed. Qui-Gon gets that plus 20 more because of his stance. It's kind of a hidden boost, but this team just racks up wins on defense, frankly, guys. Remember, Newt, Jango, and B1 can counter this. It's not a guaranteed thing, though. And so if people want to gamble using that squad, I tend to be okay with that, frankly. So just make them fast, hit hard. You know, you can put offense sets on them now. It's you can do some pretty gross things, like a Datacron with a bunch of offense, or you could put a bunch of defense on them so that they can't kill Qui-Gon as easily, which is kind of funny as well. Okay, so I like the idea of Dash with Han and Chewie as well, but in 3v3, Dash can just, with that other cheap team that I showed you on offense, kill like Jedi Master Luke. On defense, Bam, I don't know, maybe we're gonna want Bam for offense against Lord Vader teams. I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't think we will, but maybe we want him. And one way or another, if you can though, this way you have a 3 smuggler team, and then you can use 3 scoundrel team, then you can use a Datacron that boosts the whole team to be able to, if you use a basic, you can just have crazy amounts of firepower if you have the right turn meter or the right cron to be able to give you boosts on level 6. I know that level 3 won't apply because they're a light side, but level 6 does because they're scoundrels, and this team is going to be really good on defense, honestly, guys. It's going to be a little gross. Maybe you'll want it on offense too, I don't really know, but this is something that I will plan on putting on offense. Sometimes some on defense. Maybe put it on offense for a little bit, just in case you want to wait and see if Beskar Mando's needed for a different team. I don't really know. You know, for the Fennec team. Now, Grievous is a team that's kind of coming back, folks, because of the droid Datacron. And I like this comp. I think you could also put like the Newt B1 Jango team. Like you could kind of mess with it and put B1 with this squad instead. And with all the target lock spam, Grievous might end up being really, really strong with the droid Datacrons and stuff. Like I'm very, very interested to see how this team turns out. We've got Sortie. Don't put it on. It's okay on defense sometimes, but without a droid Datacron, it's way lower in my estimation. Now I have the IG-88 Cron, which is actually not a droid Cron, unfortunately. It's a scoundrel one. So, but IG-11 is still a scoundrel, so it still applies to him. And I think with Sortie, you want all droids, but then IG-88 with his Cron and with the things that he has synergy with, like I think this is going to be a fairly obnoxious team. Now, I like IG-11 just because if Wampa tries to mess with you, you can actually get target lock, or you can get tenacity down on Wampa sometimes. Well, that won't always stop Wampa, but I do look. This is kind of a fun Sortie and the IGs. I'm very interested to see what happens. Their phallic-shaped heads just evoke such pleasant imagery. Now, I have this Savage team with Dooku and Talon. It's not. This is just a classic timeout team. Like, you're not going to kill that much with it, but you're going to. If people want to use Treya early in the match, they use Treya, and then they get back here, and they don't have an easy option, guys. Savage with the Omicron. Now, if you don't have the Omicron, this team doesn't really exist. Put Talon with, like, I don't know, Sith Eternal or some other Sith, you know, Malgus she works well with, you know, but this squad only works because Savage has the Omicron, and, you know, Dooku's hiding himself, Talon's hiding herself, making it so that people have to hit Savage, which is exactly what you want. Put some good defense set on him, and make it so that people just can't get through unless they have an auto kill. This will also lose to Bounty Hunter teams with Mando, potentially, depending on what Count Dooku is able to stun. Now, I have two options for Shott T because I know some people like to have their Bad Batch on offense, and I get that. It's a really good team on offense. I don't think you need it necessarily. So, sometimes you're going to want it, and if you want it, then you have a much worse version of Shott T here because, you know, Skywalker really needs Rex and 5s. That's the best combo by a million. And so General Skywalker wants that. Everything's countering him, but he's still going to do well if you can mod them well and give him a lot of protection with and armor with the Datacron set. It's still going to be fairly difficult to get through. So Shaak Ti can go with Echo and Arc Trooper. She also, with the best version though, is Shaak Ti with Echo and Tech, and you can make Echo, like my Echo's super fast actually. I think she gives him plus 35, so yeah, mine's at 370. I know some people have faster, but make the whole squad over 400 speed. This can do some decent work. Just remember, your opponent is also going to be able to cheat a little bit with the 20% Datacrons, so neither of these teams are going to do super well, but the Shock squad has done decently for me in the past. It's very difficult to get through sometimes. Now, the Sana team, I still haven't modded her. I don't know what I want to do with her, but I do know that she works really well with Stormtrooper Han and Cara Dune, and so I know Mon Mothma kind of misses Cara, but not that much, honestly. Rebel Soldier or Rebel Scout fills in the gaps pretty decently. I think this team is going to be decent on defense. People are going to overkill it at first because they don't know what does beat it. Because who knows what beats it, like maybe Bad Batch, or maybe like you have to use a GL, who knows. So Phasma with the Phasmacron and, you know, the Omicron obviously doesn't matter, but the Omicron on First Order TIE Pilot does. You're giving everyone a bunch of speed and everything. And so I have this, I don't know if I like the idea of Hux here, I like the idea of Red Trooper, but the thing is, Phasma can kind of give you close to an endless loop, even in threes. It's a little bit crazy, and you know, with Phasma giving all that turn meter and Kylo doing his AoE and giving all that turn meter, and First Order TIE Pilot jump-starting everyone and healing and doing all the stuff, like, this team could be fairly obnoxious if you don't use the right team to counter it. So this is what I'm using for now. I'll probably mix and match some stuff with First Order TIE Pilot, but as long as we have the Phasmacron, you know, giving you all that bonus turn meter so that you can get close to an endless loop, it's kind of nice. I think Wampa probably does eat this fairly well, honestly, but what's a man to do but get eaten by Wampa? This Newt B1 Jango team, and this is GL Newt, that's what we always call it, because he's always so surprising with his extortion, even without a nose. It's like one time someone tried to extort his nose, and he was like, you know what, I'll pass, I just don't need it anymore. But otherwise, I mean, this team does, it deletes a lot of things on offense. It just doesn't get great banners, and it also catches people off guard on defense. So a lot of people know how to deal with it at this point, but it used to be a defensive stalwart, and if you really want a team on defense and you don't think you're going to need this squad, then I think that it's an okay choice. CLS is another one. Like, if you're going to get deleted by troopers and your opponent knows how to deal with it, then maybe don't do it. But Commander Luke is actually, you know, I put it on offense and defense video. This team can do well on defense if your opponent uses something that is kind of different than standard. Remember, you can put that cool droid Datacron on it to give all the target lock stuff out of turn, which, you know, Chupio is going to be shooting outside of his turn every time, and the whole team is going to be getting a lot of turn meter. And so this squad does really well, and I'm interested to see how it does if troopers don't just delete you first, which is a very real threat, frankly, guys. And then finally, Treya, I put this on offense as well on the video because we just don't know yet. Treya is not as strong in 3v3 as 5s with the Omicron, because you want the whole team to be getting debuffed, because it boosts your whole team as you're getting debuffed, as all 5 of them are debuffed. And if you don't have that debuff spam on as many characters, then you're not going to be boosted as much, and therefore the team is not going to take off quite as quickly. I think on defense it's going to, I think people are going to overreact when they see it on defense, so I'll be putting it on defense sometimes, probably in the front zone, just so people use a Galactic Legend. They're like, oh no, I'm not going to throw away all my teams like that, I'm not stupid. And I'll be like, that's awesome, man, thank you for donating your Galactic Legend to the Treya Fund, and, you know, Treya will die, and we'll move on, and then they won't have enough things to counter the back zone, hopefully, and, you know, that's what's going to happen. in theory, but who really knows? You know, on defense, I think it's still going to be a pain, honestly. There's going to be some times that you're like, man, they ramped a little too fast and I got deleted. Well, we'll just have to see. But this team may end up being way better than we think, but there's just so many question marks. Like with the Treya, we haven't seen it in 3v3 yet, so it's anyone's guess. Anyways, folks, what do you want to use on defense? I'm curious. I think that this is a good start at the very least, and hopefully this helps. Stay tuned for, go watch my offense video if you haven't already. Should be linked somewhere here soon, or in the video description. But guys, thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Xerath prevails.